Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Of a pivot door. I wonder what you might be able to tell me about that.
Well, a pivot door, a door hung on pivots?
Yeah, like using the 370 specifically.
So center hung. I wouldn't use the 370. I would go with the 0370. It's substantially less expensive and otherwise identical. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to weather strip a door that's center hung, it's going to be problematic. Is there a stop involved?
I would have a stop. Yes, exactly, for sure. Like one on the inside, one on the outside. You know what I mean? Depending on it's only going to swing one way.
Right. Yeah.
So on the styles, one would be on the outside, one would be on the inside.
So, obviously, creating a stop situation so that you can leave the door in a 90 degree or whatever position was how you would cut those. But if you're doing single acting, why a center hung pivot? Why a center hung pivot?
I don't know, because I feel like that's just what's recommended. I just feel like that's what I'm. To be honest with you, I don't know. Like, not to sound ignorant, because that's what I'm seeing being used, I guess.
But what's the? There has to be a reason other than just go with the flow. What's the? What would be another reason why you would use a center hung pivot? Because there's many reasons why you wouldn't.
I guess I'm not clear. I guess I haven't done enough research. I'm not clear what how the offset pivots work, I guess.
Well, an offset pivot's going to act like a hinge in the sense that, the vertical axis of pivoting is in such a place that would be conducive to not only weather stripping the door, but it would be conducive to maintaining the warranty of the door. A door hung on center hung pivots would by no door manufacturer's definition be considered properly hung. And if there was any warp and you went back to the manufacturer of the door for that, they're going to say, well, what do you want me to do here?
Right. Well, in this situation, I'm making the door.
Okay. So if your door warps at all, you have no way to mitigate that problem. So,
but with an offset, you do.
Well, with an offset, you do, because you can add an intermediate or intermediates, which will give you the compliance with the definition of properly hung. A door up to 60 inch will have two hinges. Every 30 inch after that, you'll add a third, whether it be a pivot or a hinge. Now, I was expecting you to say, yeah, I'm not really hung on center hung, but I did want concealed. At that point, I would say, well, go with sauce, go with Tectus, completely concealed.
So is an offset? Is it not like a pivot? Does it not work on the pivot mechanism then? Does the offset swing off of the jam?
An offset pivot is a pivot, except that vertical line, that vertical axis of pivoting is not now running down through the center of thickness of the door. Do you have an exceptionally wide door?
I'm going to be about like 46 inches plus or minus.
Okay, so not exceptionally wide.
No.
I would probably scrutinize the selection of the hanging hardware. And so, if you said, yeah, I really just, I kind of like the look. Okay, well, you can go. That means you like concealed. Okay, you can have concealed without going with center hung, because if it's an exterior door, you are going to bump into the problem of how am I going to seal this thing? You're going to have leakage. Now, you could get in. Is it 1 3/4 thick?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so if you were intent on center hung, so you could consider placing your stops wherever you need them to be placed, so that you basically don't see daylight. But you could mortise into the top rail, the styles of the door, a aluminum channel, a very small channel, like 1/2 inch wide, 5/16 thick. Into that channel, you could slide a piece of pile weather stripping. Well, that's neat. You get the concept. Now, what makes it even neater is if you mortised that deeper and then added some springs underneath the channel, and the screws that you ran through it will allow you to tailor the projection of the weather stripping over time. That would be a more elegant way to do it. The issue is that you'll have to figure out how you're going to do that around your hardware. Either bias it towards one end, or you'll have an interruption around your hardware. You will see weather stripping like this installed in hospitals, patient rooms, because those doors are hung on a center hung principle, because that door can be reversed. In case grandma's in there and she passes out, they can flip a switch and that door that normally swings in can now swing out. So in order to seal those, they mortise into the style this kind of principle I'm talking about. So you could do that.
Are you saying mortise into the top rail? You mean?
Oh yeah, the top rail, and then the style, the vertical sides as well. Or for that matter, you could. But
if I have a door stop, I don't need it on the stiles, because I can use sort of more of a traditional weather stripping on the door stops for the stiles, correct?
Absolutely. The placement of it on the stiles is just a matter of, what would you like? You want to go with something curved? That would be nice. You can stuff something in there. You could mortise to the edges. But at the end of the day, it does become an issue of, okay, how will I actually do this? And the header obviously is the problem. The sill is obviously an issue in the sense that how will you elegantly make that work?
I mean, you could mortise in some sort of, again, a sort of a traditional weather strip into that bottom rail, but you do run into that issue at where the pivot is.
Right.
Because you can't run it straight through there. So I've seen some of them that seem like they fit like front and back basically of the door rail. So instead of having something run down the middle of the rail, there's like sort of a thinner sweep of sorts on the front and the back side. But I think you need a thicker door to accomplish that a lot of times. Yeah, like I said, you have to bias towards one end or the other, and then they do make the hospital example earlier. That kerf is probably a 1/4 inch, so it is much smaller, and your top pivot plate is probably not more than 1 inch. So on paper, you can fit this. Right. I thought that pivot was wider than that, though. Well, just guessing. Oh, okay. At the bottom, it's probably going to be bigger. That top plate shouldn't be too much bigger than about 1 inch. Gotcha. Okay. Well, okay. So you guys don't sell any kind of system that's sort of specific to these pivot doors. There's just you kind of have to take a multitude of different things and apply them to your situation. Yeah, there is not a canned solution that I'm familiar with. Now, at the bottom, you could do a automatic door bottom, and you could semi recess it. It's a rectangular mechanism, a channel that has a plunger sticking out of the one end, so that when you push the door close, it will drop down. They make those for pivoting doors. That would work, but you will see it on whatever side you mortise it on. You mortise it in flush to the outside of the door, or to the inside. It would work on either face. And but I mean the outside edge of the rail, basically. Right on. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yep. Do you make it work there? Do you guys sell something like that? I sell all of the material we've discussed. Oh, okay. So what do you call the mechanical one? Automatic door bottom. Plungers? It's not there, right? Okay. Yeah. And an example of that to at least give you something to sink your teeth into would be a part number. Here's the concept. The part number 361AA. Okay. 361AA. I expect that's going to be too large, too thick, but that's the concept. Do you make one that you have, or do you sell one that's smaller? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, there'd be one that would probably be closer to a 1/2 inch thick. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. On that page, when you click on it, there's a link to the product catalog scroll down on the right side, and you get to about page 3, and you will see
the 352, right top center. That not only is a thinner one, a little bit thinner, but it illustrates the application we're discussing.
But I can't do one in the center, can I? Because I've got that. If I'm center hung, I've got that pivot at the center.
Yeah, we're going to need to make sure that we're not encroaching into any of that hardware with, we'll have to look at the templating of everything.
Yeah, gotcha. So where did you say I go where to get the catalog page? I'm on the 361 AA page itself.
On the right side, does it say buy now or add to cart?
It says I see the add to cart.
Map of the United States below it.
Yep.
Product brochure below that, about 2 inches.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. So I hit that. It takes me to the catalog. It's coming up now. I see. Okay. So that gets more just into the edge, or this, I guess, center or edge of a door.
Yeah, and ultimately you can surface mount it as well. So,
right. Okay. Yep. That's worth looking into as well, I suppose. But you're right. It is. I'm trying to do a fair bit of research online, and there's not a ton of information of weather sealing a pivot door.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ideas.
Yeah, I like them. They're cool. They may not be worth the long-term work. Something more traditional in terms of weather stripping, something that you can replace easily in 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this is an architect-driven situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is sort of what's being spec'd and what the people are desiring. So we're just figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, if it's not too intense of a climate, then you might be able to cheat that, so to speak.
What do you mean? Oh, just as far as like.
I mean, if you're in northern Georgia, or you're not going to have a polar vortex.
Yeah.
And you hopefully will not have horizontal rain like in Florida.
Right.
So, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah. No, well, I'm in Southern Oregon, so it's not an extreme climate, but we do have definitely a winter. The door is going to be well covered. It's super covered, so I got that going for me.
You have a big overhang.
I have a super big overhang. It's almost like it's underneath the porch deck kind of thing.
Now you
so I've got an exceptional
also,
amount of. Go ahead. Yeah.
You could also take this automatic door bottom. You could stick one of those at the top too. So if the concept, but you're going to have, that'll give you a seal if we can fit it into the space. The issue with the automatic door bottoms is 1 out of 1,000 people will not accept it because of the sound that they make. When you open the door, the plunger goes in, the spring relaxes, and that drop bar comes back into its housing. Now, the item you're looking at has anti-squeak rubber. It muffles the sound substantially. And at that point, I've never had anyone refuse a Zero product or something similar because of the sound, but traditional items that don't take that problem into account, you could easily have pushback on the sound because it clanks.
Oh, okay. And so, thank you. What do you guys? So, are you just like a reseller?
Oh, we're a 5th-generation distributor of commercial builders hardware.
You're a distributor, gotcha. Because originally, I guess you probably I confused you with architectural builders hardware, I guess. But you're architectural builders supply.
Yeah, I'm in Southern Florida.
Right, but the other place is in Chicago, I think, right?
We were in Chicago for years.
Oh, you were. Oh, okay.
Yeah. There was no. Well, there's an ABH, Architectural Builders Hardware. Yeah, they don't make. They make. That's the 0370 I said to you initially on the pivot.
But which one do you?
Their pivot.
Right, so because you're selling their pivot, is that correct or no?
I'm a distributor of Rixson, of ABH, of Zero, of all these people.
Okay. So the 0370, that's Rixson, correct?
No, sir. The 0370 is ABH. It is a equal. It's a complete substitute equal to the 370 by Rixson.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was not completely clear on that, obviously, as you can tell now. I thought it was, yeah, okay. So 370 is Rixson, 0370 is ABH.
Yeah.
Are they the same product? More or less?
They are thoroughly, in every respect, and equal to each other, with the exception of the cost.
But you're saying ABH is much cheaper.
It's less expensive.
And how much is the ABH?
An 0370, about $207.
Oh, okay. But the Rixson's not, it's only 260, I think, isn't it? Something like that?
$50.
yeah, it is. Right.
That's $50. So,
yep,
yeah.
Yep.
Also known as 20%.
Yeah. So you have you sold both of those products?
For the last 30 years. Well, in the case of ABH, for the last 20, about 30. Yes, sir. They've been around for about 30 years.
You sell Rixson as well, then?
Oh yeah, I love Rixson.
Gotcha. But if I were buying something from you right now, you'd say buy the ABH.
Yes, because there's no measurable advantage to spending $50.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. Yep. I mean, I haven't seen either one of them, so I don't have anything to base that on. So I'm, just relying on you for that. Okay. Well, hey, that sounds great. Thanks for your time, Richard. Let me figure out what I'm going to need, and I'll probably call you back in order.
Please do, sir.
I guess my other question is why would I buy from you and not ABH directly?
Well, you're not a distributor, and they will not sell to you.
They don't sell directly.
Only. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's the main answer. Gotcha.
Well, that's why it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But then, people like us know more about the product than the manufacturer does, with the exception of the owner, who you'd never get on the phone.
Sure.
It's the pre, during, post installation technical support that you'll require that distributors are better equipped to provide, in my opinion. Good distributors.
No. Yeah, no, I agree, Richard, for sure. I've found that same experience in my building years. So we definitely lean on the distributors for sure for good information, because they seem to be a little more in touch with the products.
All day long. I've got a desk full of items that I need to, review. Right.
Okay, well, hey, thanks, my friend. I'll be back in touch with you.
I look forward to earning that. Thank you.
Okay. We'll see you, Richard. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program.